10 a.m. Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Financial Bootcamp for Small Business Owners Series 2 webinar by Ms. Lorna Whitaker from Business Beyond the Shoebox. Today is the first session of our three-part series on business financials, and Lorna is going to open up the new gateway to abundance for us as she'll explain budgeting and cash flow management today, which is a very important topic if you're running a business. My name is Jeannie Ying. I'm a business and loan counselor at PACE. Thank you all for joining us today. This webinar is brought to you in partnership with the City of LA Economic and Workforce Development Department, EWDD, and BusinessSource Pico-Union Westlake region, operated by PACE Business Development Center. Excuse me. This webinar will be, I said that right, recorded. And at the end of the webinar, you'll be asked to participate on a survey. So please make sure that you complete the survey as it'll help us to plan our future webinars in better ways. And before we learn anything new today, let me do a quick introduction on PACE. All right, PACE is a nonprofit organization, and we were established in 1976. So from business and workforce development to utility bill assistance, housing, and education, our 5 departments are equipped with necessary services to tackle poverty and economic inequity in diverse communities across the LA since 1976. PACE offers one-on-one business counseling, asset building, credit correction, and business and financial plan development, webinars, and training to help you establish a new business or help your existing business. So we can guide you to get into the procurement contract through our MBDA department as well. The greatest fact is that all our services are free. So if you have any questions about our services, programs, and lending products, please visit our website, pacelabdc.org, for more information. All right, Lorna, let's get started. Thank you.
Okay, so awesome. So let me share my PowerPoint. Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. Perfect. So first of all, I'd like to assure you that you don't need a finance degree to take your business to the next level. You don't need fancy spreadsheets. Basic math skills is all that you're going to need, and you all have them. Okay. Today's modern tools will help you to track your cash flow, boost profits, make smarter decisions. I hope that you already have your software in place. However, I do have a little link for you at the end of my presentation that you can go and see what software is out there. So let's get started on what it is that cash flow management can do for you. So I'd like to say that budgeting for small businesses is a very different conversation than it is for individuals. For individuals, you know, who are employees, you have a certain amount of money coming in and you have to learn to live within those means. Budgeting for small businesses is about that front end of starting to manage your cash flow. Super, super important conversation. So it's not an conversation in scarcity as it is for more on the employee side. On the business side, it's really about managing our cash and then knowing what we need to start bringing in revenue, growing our businesses, and doing it in a way that gives us more confidence and peace of mind. So I'm a huge fan of positive thinking and looking at possibilities. And the thing is that in today's world, no matter how complex it seems, the possibilities for achieving a life of purpose, financial success, and joy are limitless, but you need to know how to make and have money. This is one of my own Success is not an event, it's a result. And I actually saw this little flower growing in a crack near a local restaurant, and it had gotten all the way to its flowering stage, and people had allowed it to bloom and grow and had not disturbed it, even though they could have driven over it with their tires. They didn't, they avoided it. So just remember that it is impossible is only a measure of degree of difficulty. I have to give you this disclaimer. I'm a small business consultant. I'm a money coach. I'm a financial skills trainer. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a licensed tax professional and cannot and do not give you legal tax advice. Here's the thing. I'm an educator. I teach the proven techniques, strategies, and skills needed by today's entrepreneurs for having the business of their dreams. These skills are not taught in schools. Okay, most of us don't find resources to learn them, and these are things you all need to know. So, rule number one, there is no amount of budgeting and no amount of cutting costs that will ever make up for not making enough money. Okay, for entrepreneurs, budgeting is the gateway to abundance because once you set the targets for your revenue, you will learn how to hit them. So today we're going to cover the very fundamental basics of how to create a budget, managing cash on hand, growth planning, strategic uses of your cash flow reports, and some best practices. The more clear you are about why you want to create a budget, okay, will allow you to start doing the work that it takes to do one. You don't have to live with the budget for forever. It's really just an assessment tool of where are you now, and then maybe look to where you want to be. Then you have to look at how am I going to better manage my cash on hand? Because I have a lot of cash needs for my business, and I need to know how to use it to stabilize. Let's say you're just bleeding money, and that happens. Okay, things change. You have to fix something. You have to buy a new truck. I mean, any kind of thing that can cause you to start having some cash pain. Maybe you want to grow your business, which is going to be the next step of what you're going to do, because a lot of people can feel the pain of not knowing where their money is, where it's going. Budgeting will help you with that. Then you can say, you know what? I am simply not making enough money. How can I make more? And then I'm going to show you how to actually use those cash flow reports in a strategic way for financial health and for growth. And then we'll talk about some best practices. So creating a budget is surprisingly simple if you have software. If you don't have software, it takes more time, more effort, but is still completely doable. So you want to create a profit and loss report for 12, 24, 36 months, by month, by quarter, or by year, in an Excel type document. Now, this is really easy to download with most accounting software. I will tell you that QuickBooks is one of my favorites. It's robust, it's powerful, it's strong, and it allows you to download all this information and convert it into a document that you can manipulate. If 12 months or 24, 36 feels like too much, do it for only 6 months, okay? And start looking to see what your average of your monthly expenses that comes from your profit and loss report and your cash needs, which is going to come from your balance sheet. I trust that you have had a chance to attend one of my other financial bootcamp classes on the using QuickBooks and understanding the bookkeeping and accounting needs for your company. If not, they are at pace. You can go to their library and you can download them and you can sit through them. But this is budgeting is kind of an advanced place. If you don't have the software in place. You're going to have to use your bank statements. You're going to have to use your credit cards in order to pull this information. You can put it into Excel. You can write it on a piece of paper, because most of what you need for budgeting is basic math. Sure, Excel spreadsheets and software will make it easier and faster, but you can use very fundamental math to get this done. You're going to total your monthly average. The total of your monthly average is the minimum amount of your gross income. Gross income is total revenue less costs of goods if you have it. That amount of money is all the money that is available to you to run your business, pay for your expenses, okay, handle your cash needs, and have money left over for you. Gross income. It's the total of your revenue less your costs of goods. Okay. This is the minimum amount that you will have available each month. So you can see creating the budget itself is actually fairly straightforward. You grab your profit and loss report, you figure out what your average expenses are, you go to your balance sheet and see what you also have to pay for a vehicle loan, to buy new inventory, to pay your credit cards, and maybe even to start planning for how much money you need to put into your own pocket. So once we have the budget created, and it takes a little bit of time, I would say allow yourself a half an hour to an hour to start learning what you need to know about where your money is going. That's what we're looking for. Where is my money going, my cash? So how do we manage cash on hand? Believe it or not, your bank account is the simplest and most useful cash management tool that you have available. Okay? If you're not keeping your books current on a daily basis, your bookkeeping and what's in your bank account per your books isn't going to be accurate. You need to look at your bank account, and you need to know if you have any outstanding checks that have not yet cleared. Small checks you can usually absorb. It's those big payments that maybe have not cleared. You need to know which ones have not cleared. Most of us are doing a lot of our work electronically, so the bank account is going to be very accurate for the most part. Now, I'm going to give you a sample of a dashboard. A dashboard is simply where you're putting in how much money I have on hand, how much I need to spend this week or today, and then it's just going to be this dashboard that you can look at. So you'll create a simple dashboard. I use an Excel type document that allows me to show cash on hand and my upcoming cash needs by date. Don't make this hard on yourself. Start with your first week. If you've got software, you can put your bills into the accounts payable. That will allow you to print up a report that it can actually tell you when your payments are due, and then you can fill them in. You can use these reports in lieu of a dashboard if you would like. Learning these skills will make this stuff more meaningful and more useful for you. So this is kind of that process. How do we actually get the information that we need based on where I'm at and what tools I already have at my fingertips that I can use? So bank accounts is a great one, and the dashboard is another one, but you can pull an accounts payable report. And again, QuickBooks will do it. You can actually do it by how you want the periods to look. Normally, it's like in the next 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but you can actually tell it, I would like to see it by week. Now, this I have found to be the best practice, okay, for managing the cash on hand. First thing on Monday morning, you need to update your dashboard. or you need to pop into your bank account and see how much money you have. I like people to really think of their time and their money under three categories. Okay, we have the have to. Those are the things that are most urgent, things that have to be paid. They cannot be ignored. Believe it or not, rent is not one of those things. It is a need to. In your personal life, you have to buy groceries. You may have to have gas for your car. Okay. Your need to can be your rent or your mortgage. You can go to your landlord and you can say, my rent or my lease payment is going to be a little late. I can pay it next week. And they'll work with you. They may give you a small penalty, but that's a need to. Your need to could be your credit cards. Okay, maybe I can defer that payment. So you want to look at it by what is most urgent, what has absolutely no wiggle room, what do I need to buy now? Okay. And then what do I want to pay? What do I want to do with my time? So we're going to manage it from there. And when we attend to our want tos, we start feeling better. We start feeling more confident. Doing this on Monday allows you to know, do I have payroll coming up this week? Do I have enough money on hand? How am I going to make sure that I have that money in place? Okay, waiting until that cash is going to come out of your bank account or you have to hand checks to your employees and you don't have enough money to cover those checks, that's a problem. Getting out on Monday morning allows you to get ahead of that, to do any collections, to move money around, to resolve those problems without losing your mind, okay? Without, getting overcome by overwhelm and anxiety. So this is where, start using those accounts payable so that you really can make this process faster and easier. So if you don't have a dashboard, you find that it's too complex for you and for your needs and for your time, then you're going to look at your bank account. You're going to pull an accounts payable report and you're going to look forward and say, what do I have coming up? Accounts payable doesn't track unknowns. So if you don't have a bill, but you already know that you need to buy inventory or that you have payroll coming up, those are things that you as a business owner not only need to know, but I know with for certain that you do know. You know these things. Take a breath, move forward, and do this on Monday morning. I encourage you to do it first thing. If Monday mornings are just too hectic for you, then plan on doing it right after lunch. Okay? One of the things that you will be doing as part of your budgeting, okay, is that you're going to be looking for ways to reduce expenditures. Okay, that helps you to manage your cash on hand better. One of the places that people look is maybe in their telephone. Insurance is a great way. You might find that you've been overpaying in insurance. When you prepare your profit and loss, look at it and go, do these expenses, are these absolutes? Is there something that I can do to reduce those expenditures? What needs my time? And then you're going to make a list of those things. Don't make it too long. It becomes clunky and cumbersome and just takes way too much energy. So just pick a few and tackle them. And you can have one of your team members help you with it. Now, when you're deciding on new expenditures, so you're going to look at your budget for guidance. Where do you have wiggle room? Okay. The thing is that usually when you're growing your business, you are going to have new expenditures. Maybe you need to buy a new vehicle. Maybe you need to hire that new employee. So you're going to want to look at your budget to say, what can I do here? Now, the really good news, folks, is that the first law of profitability is make more than you spend. So if you're looking at your budget and you're looking at what's happening with your money and you want to manage your cash flow, do you need to make more money? Okay. At first, I know that a lot of people go, it will never happen. I can guarantee you that when you first start this, it can be very challenging. But I also can guarantee that once you start looking at it, you're going to see creative solutions. And after all, that's what money management is about, finding creative solutions so that you manage your cash on hand more effectively. I had a client here recently. She has a large amount of inventory and she had sales taxes due. And there was an upcoming weekend and she went, you know what? I'm going to have a sale. I'm going to promote the sale. I'm going to cut my costs a little bit, or cut my sales prices a little bit, and I'm going to draw more people in. She made 3 times what she needed to cover her sales tax payment by simply saying, what can I do to resolve my need for cash? Okay. So this is the dashboard. Okay. This is just done in Excel. And I just want you to kind of look at it. At first, it can feel very overwhelming, but you'll see that it's just based on how much cash did I have on hand? Okay. And what is due in my first week? Now, I also know certain things. I know that I have a payroll coming due in week 2. Okay, well, I'll put that in now because I know it. Oh, and I have payroll taxes due. Okay, I'm going to put that in too. And I know that I have a telephone bill and a water bill coming up. And you'll see that I've predicted a few other things, particularly payroll. I know when I got payroll coming due, whether it's payroll for my employees or maybe I need to take some money for myself. Okay, so I'm going to build this into my dashboard, and your bookkeeper or somebody else can help you manage this. You don't have to do all of this yourself. So then you can see that I'm just using simple math equations in Excel to create the new information that I need. This can be done with a calculator. Excel makes it easier. I know the Google worksheets, they all work like this. So by taking the time to put it in here and keeping it simple, then you're going to be able to learn more about your money. And that is ultimately what I want for you. I want you to understand your money better. This is not being taught in school, and the accounting software can do the heavy lifting for you, but ultimately, you need to know where you're standing with your money at all times. Do you have to do it every day? No. Once a week is perfect. Doing a little planning once a month, very useful. But once a week helps you stay on top of this stuff so that you sleep better at night and you're more effective. So now we're going to look at week 2. So in week 2, I know that I have payroll, so I know that that's going to have to be done. What about the telephone bill and the water bill? Do I have to pay them? What if I don't have enough cash on hand? Okay, so you can see that my total is now on this next line up the top line. So I've got my cash on hand. I've checked my bank. I know how much cash I have on hand. I can see that I have coming out nearly $5,000. I don't have enough cash on hand. I don't have enough cash on hand to handle what I have to pay. Okay. The have tos are my payroll. How am I going to resolve that? Do I have some accounts receivable that I can request them to get paid? Okay. Maybe I have some money in savings that I have to move around. I need to know this so that I can take care of it in advance and not have it slip out of my control and at the last minute have to scramble. Okay, growth planning. So this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where abundance begins to happen. So how am I going to use a budget for growth? Well, you're going to take your average monthly expenses and you're going to create, again, that simple Excel type worksheet with columns for the next 6 to 18 months. Now, in my previous sessions, I have shown you that there's a certain predictability on growing revenue. Typically, most businesses can see movement in the first 3 months. They're going to set up, they're going to assess where they are. They're going to design a plan, and then they're going to start implementing the plan. So you would want to go in and say, how am I going to do that? So we're going to look at six months to 18 months. Again, you can do 6 weeks. If you're hurting, okay, and you just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, then back it up into 6 weeks so that you can get in there and start making a difference. Assess where you are, assess what you need, design a plan to fit your needs, okay, and then get to work. And know that within about 3 months, you should see some movement, and you will definitely see movement by 18 months. If you're not seeing the kind of movement that you need, reassess your plan and see why it's working and why it's not working. Now you're also going to determine which areas you can expect your expenses or costs to increase. The most common are advertising, payroll by hiring new employees, equipment purchases, and insurance. And maybe you need additional insurance or you need to raise the amount of insurance that you have. So let's find out what that might cost. Get some estimates on how much those costs and expenses will increase. Figuring out what an employee is going to cost you is really just kind of a formula. You say, how much am I going to pay them per hour? Okay, how many hours a week are they going to work? What will that cost me per month? That's just simply taking the number of hours that they work times their rate times the number of weeks. Okay, divide by 12. Now you know the monthly cost. There's a little bit more. There are payroll taxes. And I just use a simple multiplier and I say I use 1.2, 1.3 as my normal multiplier. If you're in a high workers' comp business, then you'll use a bigger number. And you can talk to your workers' comp people to figure out what that's going to be. So it's just going to be their hourly rate times another, 20% so that you can cover the costs. And then start planning ways to bring in more money. Maybe you can only do it by bringing in more revenue, making more sales, okay? Maybe you're going to need some kind of a loan. For a loan, you want to know how much you're going to need because basically you're going to have to ask for that amount up front because you're not going to be able to spend through all of it and then say, oh my God, I need more money. It's just, you need to really have an idea. Budgeting will allow you to do that. Planning will allow you to do that. Okay. What do I actually need? And yes, Excel spreadsheets can help. You can hire someone to help you. The more you do yourself, the more you know, and the easier it will be for you to make those really good, solid decisions. So I want to show you something here. Remember I said that this is basic math, okay? If a spreadsheet is just too much for you to do right now, then just do basic math. Okay, what's my total cash needs? What's my total income less my cost of goods? There's my gross profit income, okay? Total income less cost of goods than my profit income. That's all the cash that you have available. Now, you've already figured out what your monthly expenses are. You put that number in, okay? You say, well, I need these expenses for growth, so I'm going to put that number in. Plus my non-P&L cash needs. And again, if you've taken my bookkeeping and accounting class, you know that there are things that don't show up on the profit and loss report that require cash. That's paying for vehicles, paying your credit cards, paying off any loans that you have, okay? Any of those things that are not on your profit and loss report, you have to go get them. And for me, this has been that area where most business owners didn't know they were supposed to look because they're looking at their profit and loss report, okay, and they're seeing this number, and maybe it's a good number, and they go, why am I always struggling with cash flow? Why does it seem like I never have any money? And we say, okay, well, then where is your money going? If you're a sole proprietor, you're taking money out of your business to put it into your own pocket because you have your own rent and your groceries and your gas and all of those things to pay. Okay, but you're also paying for a credit card. And while those expenses are showing up on your profit and loss report, the payment for them is not. It doesn't show what came out of your bank account to pay for those. So you want to be sure that you're looking in both places. What do I need to run my business? The expenses that are on my profit and loss, and what cash needs do I have that are not on my profit and loss? And I'm going to show you how that translates into a tool that you can use. But this is where it is at its simplest form. Now you're going to fill out first your monthly expenses, what you need for growth, your cash needs, those kinds of things first. And then you're going to look at what is my gross profit right now? What can I predict I will be making in order for me to cover those needs? And if your gross profit income is not enough to meet your cash needs, that's where you have to get to work. Okay, so I'm going to put this up, let you digest it a little bit. We're doing really well on time here today. So we're going to have good time to answer your questions, which I'm really happy about. I saw some chat activity, but I haven't been able to answer those. So this is a sample cash flow for growth. It's a sample worksheet. You can make it as complex or as simple as you need it to be. If you don't have software, maybe you don't know how to use Excel very well or the Google worksheets, I really encourage you to learn how to use them, because all you're going to do is put in the numbers that you know in the boxes. Always start with what you know, okay? Don't make it complex. And then start adding things. So you'll see that I'm saying, okay, I can figure out what my current average income is. We've talked a little bit about how to find that out. Okay, what is my current average income? The shorthand version is total sales over a period of time divided by whatever you want to know. So if I know what my income was for, 3 months, then I'm going to say, okay, I know what my income was for 3 months. I'm going to divide it by 3, and now I have my average income. The same thing with the gross profit. Okay, what are my costs of goods? Again, maybe I'm just going to look at 3 months. What is my average for 3 months? 6 months is better. 12 months is even better than that. But again, don't make it harder on yourself than it needs to be. Okay, so then, okay, now I know my average cost of goods sold. Now I know my average gross profit. And remember, the average gross profit, that's the only amount of cash that you have available for everything you need. Okay, don't let it scare you. It's just information. Now I'm going to say, well, I'm looking to grow. So what are my current average expenses? Again, you're going to look at your profit and loss. Let's say I'm going to look at that 3-month window or 6-month window or 12, and I'm going to say, what were they for this window of time? Divide it by the number of months, okay, and plug that number in. Now you know your average expenses. That's what you can predict, okay? Now, then we go, all right, I know I'm going to need more money to grow. This you might need to do a little research on. Make some phone calls. I'm gonna up my advertising. Okay, I'm gonna have to hire some help. Okay, maybe I need a contract labor, a 1099 type individual who helps you. Maybe I need to hire an employee. I'm gonna have to get some more insurance. I need licenses or permits. Whatever it is that you need, just write them down. Think about it. It's kind of like step into that space as if it were a real world experience, because it is, and you're going to go, what would I need? What the word is resources. What resources do I need to grow my business? And then you start trying to get some numbers. The best guess is fine. They don't have to be accurate. Best guess is fine, because this is a tool. This is an assessment and planning tool for you. As you get more information, then you can change the numbers, and it will just change it all across the board. That's why these worksheets work so well. Now I know what my total expenses are going to be. Now I see my net income. There's my net income. This is what I have left after I spend all of those things. But we are not done yet. Okay. Now we go into what non-profit and loss cash flow items do I need? Whether it's going to be equipment, inventory, a new vehicle, things like that. And if I'm going to put a lot of stuff on my credit card, which is one way of getting it's a higher interest loan, but it works, okay, as long as you pay it back down. But you may have another loan. Maybe you have to get a loan, even from a friend, okay, and you put that money in. You have to pay that loan back, and you have to plan on it. If you get it from any kind of lending agency, they're going to want their money back, and you've got to plan for that. It's not going to go well if you don't pay back that loan. The thing is that one of the jobs that this does for you is allows you to start problem solving. What solutions can I have? I had a client. She wanted to grow her business in a big way. She needed to grow her business in a big way. And what she did was she goes, I know that I'm going to have my website updated, and I know that I'm going to have to spend advertising dollars. There's just no way around it. So we planned on her doing it over a 3-month window, knowing that heavy marketing can produce results in 3 months. How was she going to come up with, and they wanted $3,500 a month. They were going to clean up her website. They were integrated. They were going to get the SEO working again. They were going to put out all these ads, and they knew that they were going to hit it fast and furious in those first 3 months. And it was going to be $3,500. She stopped paying herself. She lived on her savings for those 3 months. Actually, it was only about 2. After 2 months, she started seeing her numbers going up to the point where they were starting to pick up all those extra costs. So I do want you to know that a targeted plan can produce some pretty stunning results, but you need a plan. Okay. And then you need to look for solutions, how you're going to come up with that money in order to do the plan. One of the things that really I found unfortunate, a lot of people got in during the COVID years, they got idle money, that economic development loan that came from the SBA, and they just sat on it rather than putting it into their business. And a lot of them, what they saw is the money just kind of trickled away. They didn't actually plan to use that money and get those employees and get that equipment and actually spend the money that way. So encourage you to, if you're going to get a loan, use it for the purpose that you get the loan for. Okay, so this is a little more detail. What are my current average expenses? Figure it out. What am I really going to need for my to grow my business? Look at that, write them down. Those are my total expenses. And then I look at my non-P&L cash flow. And that, if you're a sole proprietor, that can include you. If you're a corporation or LLC taxed as a corporation, your average expenses could have your payroll in it. So that's just a consideration. So am I sole proprietor? Is my money going to come out after my expenses or after my net? And then, or is it going to be part of that? So how do I use the cash flow reports? These are the questions you're going to ask. Okay, I know there's a lot of uncertainty. So you remember I talked about the importance of your gross profit and income. So how do I assess my financial health? are my total cash needs for my business greater than my gross profit or income? Okay, revenue less cost of goods equals gross profit income. Are my total cash needs greater than my gross profit or income? If they are, you're going to have to find a way to bring in more revenue or get a loan to manage those cash needs during your growth period, which you should be no less than 6 months. Okay. Are your total cash needs less than your gross profit and income, but not enough to cover my personal cash needs? That means I'm working for free. Okay. If my total is less than my gross profit or income, but not enough for me to take money home, I still really want to get busy taking care of it. How long can I go living on my savings, my personal savings, without having any money coming in? I will tell you that the norm for a young business is going to be in that 18 to 24 months maximum before you run out of money. So don't wait that long. Really figure out how you're going to bring this, start seeing the results you need within about 6 months. Okay. I find that that's really the best window. 12 is okay. Or are the total cash needs for my business less than my profit income and enough to cover my personal cash needs, and I can save money, and I can plan for the future, and I can go on vacation, and I can live comfortably without money worries? This is where you want to be. And so then you can say, well, gee, I'm right here. Maybe I want to do something else. Maybe I want to grow my business in a bigger way. Maybe I have that money to spend in a different way. But this is that financial health analysis. For some of you, this process is going to be a little painful, but it's worse if you don't do it. That not knowing, that uncertainty is not good for you. So figure out how to utilize these tools to get this information. And if you don't know how much you're spending on your personal side, what you need for yourself personally, be sure to do that. Be sure that you know how much money you need in your bank account every month in order to pay your personal bills, save money, set money aside, have a vacation, live comfortably. Figure out that number, because your business's job is to make sure that it is making money for you. So I just put this in for those of you who might not be familiar with looking at a profit and loss report. So I just want to get this back up, for you to take a look at it. This is a cash basis profit and loss report. If you've been at these other workshops, you know that the accrual basis helps me to manage my money in a different way. It allows me to look at how my sales are going. But this is a profit and loss based on cash, so that we can do our cash management, our cash assessments, because that's where the rubber hits the road. So my total sales are $57,000 in this example. And I have $3,000 sitting in accounts receivable, which might mean I have some money that I can collect. If that money is bigger, then that gives you a bigger resource. Don't let it get too old. Anything past 90 days, you have a real risk of never seeing that money. Then I have some costs of goods, my gross profit, gross income, okay, gross revenue. I mean, these are just terminologies. What is my number? What is the cash that I have available for my business? In this example, I have $39,000. And then I have my ordinary expenses, so my total expenses, and then remind you that if you're a sole proprietor, that $20,000 has about a 15% tax rate on it or more. You want to be sure you're planning for your taxes and get out in front of that. Don't forget that as a conversation, because it does not come out of the business. It comes out of your personal pocket. For S corporations and LLCs, taxed as S corporations is a little bit different. So get yourself, informed on that. It's just kind of a one and done. Once you know the information, it belongs to you. So Gross profit, $39,000. This is all the cash that I have available to me for my business needs, for my expenses, and for my non-profit and loss cash demands. And there it is. So if my expenses are $18,950 and I have an additional other cash needs, you can see that I actually don't have enough money, okay, to cover my needs. I'm going to be upside down. So how do I plan for that? What period of time am I looking at? And that's a really important piece, is what period of time is this going to occur? And is there anything that I can defer? What strategies or solutions do I need? Maybe I can't take that $5,000 out for me. So, strategic planning. Your cash needs become your revenue goal. How much cash you need becomes your revenue goal. Set weekly revenue targets. Okay, at first you won't hit them, but I can guarantee that pretty soon you'll know exactly what it takes to start hitting those targets. Use a simple dashboard once a week to review cash needed and to assess results. Assess all revenue relevant actions. What are you doing every day to bring in money? Okay. Take all necessary actions to bring in more revenue, and then repeat steps 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So make it a step-by-step process and learn how to hit it consistently. Some quick updates on best practices. Block out time at least once a week to review cash flow status. Update your dashboard if you're using one. Look at your bank account for cash on hand, or update your bookkeeping to real-time status, which means that come Monday morning, everything is in your books, including all your transactions have been posted, everything into that account. Okay, so that's real-time status. A lot of businesses don't do it. If you're using a bookkeeper, they may be behind by a few days. Don't let that be the way you run your business. Say, I need to have by Friday afternoon, I need everything posted so that I know when I look at my my bookkeeping, my register in my bank, my books, that it's correct. Okay, or look at your bank account. Review accounts payable and planned weekly spend, and don't miss payroll or auto payouts, things that are going to come out automatically. Again, block out time at least once a month, maybe once a week, depending on your needs, okay? These are not absolutes. This is all designed to make it flexible for what you need to know and what you're going to be doing, because you already have a lot of demands on your time. This is just something you want to get in place. Why? It will save you more time. It will make you feel less anxious or worried, okay? It will really bring a lot to help you make sound, informed decisions. So I'm going to review my accounts receivable. I'm going to make any necessary collection efforts. I'm going to prepare and send invoices. Preparing and sending invoices is a task that a lot of business owners don't like doing very much. Okay, don't let that be you. Really get in there, prepare them, send those invoices, make your collections, do what it is needs to do to bring your money in. And then, this is also revenue relevant. Follow up on prospective clients and make those sales. Bring in more money. Okay? Pay attention. The cash flow management, budgeting, and that sort of thing, those are kind of you get in and do it periodically, and you're going to do them with regularity and find out what you need to know. Ultimately, your abundance, your financial health is all tied to making sales and making money. So, few parting words: focus on goals, not on obstacles. Really, inspiration's not enough, motivation is not enough. You must put in the work. Start where you are, start with what you have, figure out what you need, and get started now. I'd like to assure you that financial savvy is learned. None of us was born knowing this stuff, and it's not taught in school. It is, however, stuff we really need to know. So I'm so glad that you took the time out of your busy schedules to be here today. It's super, super important that you get the help that you need to assess your resources that you have and where you want to go. So I want to let you know that one of the things that has come up is that a lot of entrepreneurs are struggling with knowing what kind of bookkeeping or accounting software that they would like to have. They don't have it in place. This slide is for you. It will be on your handout. If you don't have accounting software in place yet, I've prepared a guide, has some really good information for you so that you can get in there and take a look to see what it is that you would like to have in place. Growing your business is going to require eventually having bookkeeping and accounting software. I know that it can be a little cost prohibitive for some of you, but it is absolutely necessary. The purpose of budgeting and cash flow management is to help you take control of your numbers, make smarter decisions, and run your business with confidence and peace of mind. The software makes light work of getting the information that you need. So if you don't have software in place, please take time to look and see what's available. And this guide it's 20 pages, so it's got a lot of really good information, and you can read through it and look to see which software might be the best fit for you for today, excuse me, and for tomorrow. And I am living proof of this, folks. When you have a business you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I love my business. I love being able to help others have this. So I'm so glad that you were here today. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go look at the chat and see if there is anything that we need to revisit and answer your questions. Okay, so let's
Thank you
get the
so
chat up
much,
and going.
Lorna. It looks like we have a great introduction of the participants today. And I don't particularly see any questions.
Okay, well, let me see.
Oh, oh yeah, there is one. Any suggestions on how to find a low-cost part-time bookkeeper? Okay, I have a
To find a bookkeeper?
Mhm.
Well, basically, you're going to put the ad out. I would have you first ask around other business owners that you know and you like, and you see them having healthy businesses. They seem to be busy, they seem to have money, and ask them if they're doing their own bookkeeping or if they have hired someone and who they hired, if they can make a referral. I find that to be the best thing for local businesses. There are CPAs, if you have a tax professional, a lot of them do in-house bookkeeping and in-house payroll for people. So as you're looking to grow your business, if you don't have payroll and you've never done payroll, you want to hire it out. You don't want to do it yourself. It's too complex and can have lots of issues. So ask around who knows of a bookkeeper and who they like. And then once you found somebody, talk to them and see how they do it. Are they familiar with the software that you're using? And again, I'm a QuickBooks girl. Love it. So do they know online QuickBooks? Do they do desktop? What do they charge? What's included in their services? Okay, have them give you that in writing, what they will do for you, the services that they will provide for you, and what extra services can they provide, and what do they charge for those? Okay, those are great questions. I'm glad you asked it.
All right. So Lorna, you're available for a one-on-one consulting session, right?
I am, but I am fee basis. But yes, I am. That just make that clear for your audience is that I'm paid pretty much by the hour.
Okay, so your information, Lorna's information is available, on the screen right now. Phone number and email. Make sure you reach out to her for a great consulting session. And everyone, we have another webinar coming up by Lorna. It's going to happen on April 22nd at the same time. And we'll be talking about forecasting and growth planning. So make sure you register for that webinar as well.
And I was looking at the questions, and yes, there will be a recording of this session. The question was, and I'm going to I'm going to make a bold statement here. It says, how do I find a low-cost part-time bookkeeper? So low cost, that's very dangerous. You want somebody who is competent, and they're going to charge accordingly. All right. Part-time means they're going to be an independent contractor. Great. So, but remember that low cost, I find that bookkeepers that are in that lower range, which are going to be like $25 an hour, that's what you should be paying an employee. A full-time employee bookkeeper is $25 an hour. I know of employee bookkeepers who are employees that are making $50 an hour. Okay, so be careful of that low cost, because you want competency. You want them to be reliable. They have to do your payroll on time. They have to do all of these things on time without fail. A client of mine just had her workers' comp insurance canceled because her bookkeeper didn't pay it. Okay, and she missed her payroll last week. She failed to do it on time. What a scramble. So competency is your buzzword, not low cost.
All right.
Mhm. All right. Well, I'm glad. It looks like we have a lot of good attendance to here. If you have a specific question, a small question, you may certainly reach out to me and email me your question. A lot of people don't want to share confidential information in a public setting. I am more than happy to answer some very simple, straightforward questions. So feel free to reach out to me, okay? And I have lots of good stuff on my website if you want it, okay?
All right, time to wrap up. Thank you so much, Lorna, for a great webinar, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the day.
Me too. You guys, it's been great. Thanks you so much.
Thank you. Bye now.